Hi, everyone. Speaking to you tonight after Fed Chair Jerome Powell basically told us today he doesn't know what to do because we do not know what is going to happen next in our country and our economy, which is what we talk about in this series. We are in unprecedented waters. The level of tariffs that Trump is unilaterally imposing without any guardrails in our government, our legislative branch has totally foregone their responsibility here, are even more severe than Smoot-Hawley in 1930. We all know what happened in 1930. So we don't know if we're going to be in a recession, if we already are in a recession. If you're Jerome Powell, you don't know if we're going to have runaway inflation you need to control, or if we're going to have runaway unemployment you need to control. So you have to sit and just watch to see how this all plays out. And that's why you have this level of uncertainty in Wall Street, and everything has basically slowed. And if you listen to the radio shows and the TV shows, it's basically them filling space because nobody knows what to do. That's the bottom line. We're also not getting honest brokers telling us what's going on. Last week in a Time magazine interview, Trump told us that the President Xi, had called him. He said that 3 times, that the president of China had called him to negotiate. It was a lie. We have had no negotiation with China. China pushed back on this. The first meeting with China is coming in this coming week. On Sunday and Monday, Trump said we were close on several deals, several trade deals. Bessent said the same thing, that we were close on several deals. Both of them, yesterday and today, backed off from that claim. We're close to 0 deals. Let's review. Liberation Day, April 2nd. A couple of weeks later, that was put on pause. Peter Navarro, our trade advisor, said we would have 90 deals in 90 days. Well, guess what, folks? It's over a month. Guess how many deals we have? 0. Trump told Time magazine we would have 200 deals shortly. Guess how many? 0. It got to the point where Bessent had to say today, contradict his own words from a few days ago, to say, well, we're going to have agreements in principle. Anyone who's worked in finance knows agreements in principle ain't shit. That doesn't mean anything. You say we're going to have deals signed. An agreement in principle is a negotiation. That is nothing. Trump, yesterday, meeting with the Prime Minister of Canada, who, by the way, won election, his Liberal Party, after being down his party nearly 30 points, and what allowed them to win was Trump and his trade wars and his threats to make Canada a 51st state. And so Trump goes into this meeting. If you listen to it as an American, I was embarrassed for us. Before the meeting even starts, sends this random post on Truth Social that is, you would think that Canada was about to invade our country, that how they screw us and all of this. Canada buys 17% of our exports. They go there. One of our closest allies. And what does Trump do in this meeting with him? He starts off with his imperialistic, wet dream that Canada is going to become our 51st state. We're going to annex Canada. Carney pushes back and says, no, I just won an election. I went around my country, and no, we don't want that. Trump goes at it again and again and again. And finally, Carney has to say, never, never, never. It is just not going to happen. So our economy, all of this stuff, we are going to start to feel it in the coming weeks because China has stopped shipping things here. There's going to be layoffs in ports and trucking companies that used to transport the stuff to us. We're already starting to see, and consumers know this, consumers aren't stupid. You ask consumers, their expectation is largely, wildly, that we're entering an inflationary time. Today, Ford told us that they are going to be raising prices. The retailers who went to the White House to meet with Trump told him they were going to have empty shelves and they were going to have to pass on the increase in pricing. And the scariest part is Trump is on his own and he is surrounded by mostly incompetence and people that will not disagree with him or tell him that he's wrong. And he is stubborn and he will never admit that he's not this grand negotiator. And we are so far into this already that even if we were to stop now, it's like the pandemic. You can't get the supply chain up and running again. M&A transactions are at the lowest level in decades. Consumer confidence is at the lowest level in decades. Expectations of recessions are going up. The real estate market is slowing. Every sign points to trouble. And again, the problem that we have of the power being with one person. So what can you do? Well, first of all, again, the financial press, their job is to report and find things to discuss. And if you listen to them, which I do frequently, people just don't know what to do. We are still in the center of a storm. We are in this eye of a storm, and it's going to be a long storm. And even if Trump were tomorrow to say, guess what, no more tariffs, which he won't, we still are going to have a lag from that. But instead, we could be going on with this game for months. We don't have any deals. 90 deals in 90 days, Navarro said. Trump said to Time Magazine last week, we'll have 200 deals, even though I can't come up with the 200 countries that he's talking about unless we're negotiating with penguins. So far, we have 0 deals. 0. So, center of the storm, all of us, what can we do? Our power is to call our members of Congress and say this is not okay. Because Trump is in trouble. He has slowed his roll in the last 3 weeks. Things are not working out for them. 140 cases have either stopped or paused his actions. He has loss after loss. He lost a major lawsuit against one of the first law firms he went after. And that executive order has now stopped, which will be precedent for other law firms. The colleges and universities are forming coalitions and pushing back. He even lost to the state of Maine after telling Janet Mills she had to apologize to him. He and his regime had to give up. They were trying to take away $3 million of funding for food at the schools in Maine. And finally, after a lawsuit, they had to walk away from that. His other major issue, immigration, has largely been a failure. He has deported 140,000 people after promising millions. He's losing court case after court case. So things have slowed his role. If you look at Trump, he is like discombobulated, and we're now in this like really weird place where he continues to surround himself with really bad people like Kennedy and all the other people coming into our health system, trying to take away basic things that are really going to harm the American people that we need. So, if you're asking what to do with your money, I would just say, plan for a long storm. Plan for us being at the eye of that storm and uncharted waters. Things are going to start to, what has started, play out in the coming weeks and months, where shelves are going to be bare, where things are going to cost more. And please, be involved, be engaged, call your members of Congress, tell them to do their job. They have the power to stop these tariffs. There is no national emergency. We should not be in this position. Thank you.